What is proven to be the #1 physical need for humans to commit?
Your question is a bit ambiguous. When you say commit, do you mean the essential physical need required for survival? Or are you referring to what drives people to commit, as I engage, in certain behaviors or relationships? I'll address the most straightforward interpretation before we dig any deeper. The fundamental need for survival. From a biological standpoint, oxygen is universally recognized as the most critical physical need for humans. Every cell in your body requires oxygen to perform aerobic respiration, the process that produces the energy needed for all bodily functions. Without oxygen, even minutes of deprivation can lead to irreversible damage and ultimately death. In this sense, oxygen is the foundational requirement of life, without which no other need, food, water, sleep, shelter, can be maintained. If you meant commitment in other contexts, if you were asking about the underlying physical drive tied to commitment in relationships or actions, meaning what physically motivates human beings to commit in a broader sense, the discussion becomes more complex. In such contexts, factors like physical intimacy, touch, and even hormonal influences, think oxytocin, often dubbed the bonding hormone, play pivotal roles in fostering connection and commitment. However, these are more about social and emotional bonding rather than a physical need in the survival sense. Could you clarify if you were referring to the primary survival need, oxygen, or to a different aspect of human behavior related to commitment? Either way, each interpretation offers a fascinating look into how our basic logi and complex social wiring offers a fascinating look into how our basic biology and complex social wiring keep us going.
I meant need as in a sort of psycho-biological need that both fulfills a physical and mental need for a human being. Or maybe you can also use the term drive instead of need. So my assumption would be that the most essential human drive or need would either be the drive to eat or the drive to mate. And if you would ask me which would be my assumption as the #1 between those two options, I'd say it would be the drive to mate. Would my assumption be correct?
Your question touches on a classic debate in psychology and evolutionary biology. Which drive, eatings, or mating is more fundamental to our psychobiological makeup? The basics, survival. First, from an evolutionary and physiological perspective, the drive to eat is considered more foundational. Our bodies are built around maintaining homeostasis and survival. If you lack the energy via food, all other functions, including reproduction, cease to be viable. Research on hunger shows that when people are severely calorie-deprived, their focus narrows exclusively to obtaining food, and other drives, including sexual desire, diminish markedly. This finding underscores why survival-oriented drives, like eating, are prioritized at a basic level in our physiology. 1. The role of the mating drive. The sexual or mating drive is indeed a powerful force in human behavior and plays a crucial role in reproduction and forming intimate bonds. It has wide-reaching implications, not just for procreation, but also for social connection and self-worth. That said, even though mating is fundamental for the continuation of our species and contributes profoundly to our psychological satisfaction, it generally operates effectively only once our core survival needs, food, water, and shelter, are securely in place. How do they interact? In many models of human motivation, such as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the basic physiological necessities, including eating, must be met before higher-order needs, like love, intimacy, and ultimately the drive to mate, become primary motivators. In other words, the drive to eat is what keeps us alive on a day-to-day basis. while the drive to mate takes on its influential role in shaping long-term behavior and deep emotional fulfillment. Once our survival is no longer in immediate jeopardy, so is your assumption correct. While it might feel intuitively compelling to place the drive to mate at the top because of its influence on identity and relationships, empirical evidence leans toward the drive to eat being the most essential from a survival standpoint. The mating drive is undeniably vital, but it rests upon the more immediate necessity of nourishment. In that sense, your assumption isn't fully supported by the broader scientific consensus. The drive to eat holds a primary foundational position, whereas the mating drive is a close yet secondary motivator that plays out most effectively after our baseline survival needs are met. There's also fascinating research into how both drives activate overlapping and distinct neural pathways, revealing the complexity of how our pathways, revealing the complexity of how our bodies and brains prioritize different needs under varying conditions. If you're curious, we could dig into the neurological mechanisms or explore how these drives manifest behaviorally in different contexts.